I am human, and that's all I want to be. By LordOctavianStark, who is not a Brony. There you stand, chains and all. You walk down one of the many corridors of the Canterlot Castle. You are worried. In the 5 years you have been in Equestria, you've only been in chains twice. Now today marks the 3rd. You are trying to think of any reason to why you were arrested, but your mind draws blank after blank. You are so deep in concentration that you don't see the wall you walked into. It bloodens your nose, but other than that you are fine. The guards then push you in the right direction, rather forcefully you note. Whenever you try to make eye contact with the guards, they turn away. What can I expect? I've been here years and never once has any pony treated me with respect other than the princesses. You soon find your bearings. The corridor in which you walk within is the one that leads to the throne room. Maybe this is just an audience. No, I've been here plenty of times, and the last time I was here in chains was... What? 4 years ago? You think to yourself as the door begins to open. Inside stands Celestia, Luna, Cadence, Twilight, Rarity, Applejack, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie. They are your only friends in this world. You smile at them, but then you remember your current situation. You glance over all of them. Most stare back, but Luna, your greatest friend and companion, turns away to break eye contact. Just like the guards. This worries you deeply. You then turn to Celestia as she rises from her throne, her white fur glistening from the sun's rays, and her ethereal mane still flowing in the non-existent breeze. Hello, Anon. I am deeply sorry about the restraints, but they are just a precaution, she spoke. A precaution? What would warrant such a thing? You spoke. Your voice sounded of both anger and concern. You deepen your gaze at the rest of the group. Celestia, you've known me years. Have I ever once proven to be a danger in a situation that were not self-defense? No, Anon. You have... You cut her sentence short. Then why the chains? I am not an animal. I am a human being. You shouted. Almost everyone in the room retracted due to the outburst, all but Celestia, who remained her stoic look. Since you have lived here, Anon, you have been subject to ridicule and disdain. I would like to think that ponykind is above that, but sadly we are not. I want to protect you, Anon. I don't want you to spend the remainder of your life cooped up in here. But if I were to let you out, the world would know of your existence. Countries would do their best to capture you for the information you possess. Then, when that is done, you will most likely be experimented on until death. I refused to let that happen, so I had Princess Twilight develop a spell. Her voice calms your anger. You begin to feel at ease. What is this spell? You ask, your voice clear of all anger and distraught. Twilight steps forward. She prepares to speak, but was prevented to by Celestia. In order to protect you from the world, Twilight has developed a spell that will allow you to become a member of ponykind, she says. You are concerned by her hesitation in wording. She acts as if the spell will kill me. What? I'll be able to turn into a pony whenever I want? You ask. Concern lurks in your voice. No, Anon, the spell is permanent. It will wipe all humanity from you, Celestia says. The guards then step closer to you, as if they assumed you were going to retaliate at the words, but you didn't retaliate. Instead, you stood there, unable to process the words Celestia had just spoken moments ago. She was going to rid you of all and any humanity. The species you were so proud of The species that since the day you were born you were told was the greatest to ever exist. You dropped to your knees, unable to talk or think. The guards on your side began to grab your chains to hold you in place. You glanced to Luna with eyes that had just lost all will to live. When you make eye contact with Luna, you could see in her eyes the sadness that this has caused her. The rest of the group looks away in shame. Celestia began to walk down the stairs that led to the thrones of the royal sisters. Luna never moves from her spot. Instead, she just stared at her hooves. When Celestia was almost upon you, you panicked. You flailed and thrashed your body around, hoping that Celestia would change your mind. She stopped when she was no more than 2 feet away. She began to tilt her horn down. That's when you reacted. You did a violent jerk of your body, freeing you from the grip of the guard on your left. You flung yourself behind the guard that still had your chain in his mouth. You grabbed the dagger the guard possessed and pointed it to his throat. "Unlock the chains," you said in monotoned voice. Celestia stood unfaltering. "I said, unlock the chains!" You pressed the blade harder against the neck of the guard, causing a small trail of blood to leak. Celestia complied with a small nod as one of the many guards in the room began to unlock your cuffs. Once free, you stood up, still keeping an arm around the guard's throat and the dagger to his neck. "When I leave this room, I want you to close the door and lock it, understood?" Celestia once again only nodded in response. When you left the throne room, you waited until the doors began to close. When they shut fully, you shook the pommel of the dagger and struck it over the guard's head, successfully knocking him unconscious. You then turned in some random direction and ran. Your head start didn't do much as Rainbow Dash was hot on your tail. Every turn you made only brought you a small amount of time before the Cyan Pegasus was upon you again. As you continued to run, you began hearing the sound of beating hooves against the marble surface. Your mind began to fear the worst after your last turn led you to the dead end. You turned to face your followers. It was the elements, Celestia and her contingent of guards. You noted that Luna was absent from the party. You continued to back up until you reached the balcony. You glanced behind you to see the 14-story drop. You turned back to the growing group of ponies. Then you repeated, each time taking the fall as a better end than being a horse. You climb over the rails, but making sure you are well balanced and grounded. "Stay back! I'll jump! I swear I will!" Your body begging your mind to reconsider the idea as your legs become shaky. Celestia began to speak once more. "Why? Is it truly worth it?" She sounded hurt, as if you had broke her heart. "Why?" you asked, contemplating the meaning to the question yourself. "Because this is my life and I only get one. Let me have my life!" Celestia, for the first time in a very long time, was taken aback. "This is for your own good. I cannot." You cut her short once more. "Then allow this to be the last choice I make!" You then let go of the railing. The fall seemed prolonged. Maybe you had misjudged the height. You turn to see Rainbow Dash on your side. She tries to grab you, but you push her away. She stared at you and said something. You couldn't hear her due to the wind, but you can only assume it was along the line of, "Why?" "Because I am human, and that's all I want to be." She followed you down until veering off at the last second. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider joining my Patreon, patreon.com/TMFF, to get early access to audiobooks and to be able to request I do a reading of what you want, provided the author approves. Thank you to Artlist.io for providing the massive music and sound effect library that I have to work with. And most of all, thank you to the Bronies who write the amazing stories that inspire me to make these. Fluttershy and Izzy are best ponies. I now have a Discord server where you can join in and chat with other fanfiction fans. If you enjoy what I do, you can donate to me on Ko-Fi, links in the description.